All right, hopefully I can solve some confusion here. This is the New Testament. Some people, when they are a brand new Christian and they begin reading in the New Testament, obviously they start with Matthew. And then when they get to chapter 2, they see here, verse 1, Now when Jesus was born in Bethlehem of Judea, in the days of Herod the king, behold, there came wise men from the east to Jerusalem, saying, Where is he that is born King of the Jews? For we have seen his star in the east and are come to worship him. That right away, people assume that Jesus was raised in Bethlehem and spent 30 years there, and then traveled up north and then began his ministry. When in fact, if you go over to Luke chapter 2, this isn't contradicting, this is just giving you a little bit of a deeper view of where Jesus is from. Matthew just starts it a little bit later. He starts it in Bethlehem. But if you go to chapter 2 over here, so basically chapter 2 of the book of Luke, you see, and it came to pass in those days there went out a decree from Caesar Augustus that all the world should be taxed, and this taxing was first made when Cyrenius was governor of Syria, and all went to be taxed, everyone to his own city. So that's key. Joseph also went up from Galilee, so that's where he's from, out of the city of Nazareth, unto Judea, unto the city of David, which is called Bethlehem, because he was of the house of the lineage of David. He just happened to live in Nazareth. So to be taxed with Mary, his espoused wife, being great with child. So it was, while they're there, accomplished that she should be delivered. So she brought forth her firstborn son while they were doing the census, while they were in Bethlehem. She had a baby in Bethlehem. So then the prophecy would be fulfilled that that's where the Messiah would be born. But also he is actually going to be raised in Nazareth. So I'm just going to show you this little chart here. So here is Bethlehem, Jerusalem. So this area, basically, this is all Judea. So you have Bethlehem, Bethany, Jerusalem. This is where Joseph and Mary traveled, all the way from Nazareth, all the way through Samaria, all the way down here to Bethlehem. And then Joseph had a dream when an angel was warning him that Herod is not too happy about this because there's the King of the Jews, and all of Jerusalem is in a state of turmoil, and Herod wants to kill all the children based on the time frame that he got the news from the wise men from the east, because the wise men from the east went to Herod first. And Herod said, if you find this child, tell me and I'll go worship him, aka kill him. So then the angel says to Joseph and Mary, go to Egypt, hang out there until I tell you. And then Herod dies, and then Joseph and Mary come back, and instead of hanging around in this area, because it's too rough to be in Judea, they decide to go back home, all the way up here, because nobody's thinking that the Messiah is coming out of Nazareth. Even, I forget which disciple it was, but basically, when all the disciples were getting together and being called by Jesus, they're like, come see, we found the Messiah. And they're like, from where? From Nazareth, Jesus of Nazareth. And they're like, can anything come from Nazareth? So this is where he hung out. This is where Jesus hung out for 30 years. Spent time in Cana. That's where he turned water to wine. Crossed the Sea of Galilee, walked on water, hung out over here. I think around here is where Peter's house is. And you got the Jordan River, and I believe Jesus was baptized down here. So I should have drew a little squiggly line down here. I believe the Jordan River continues down there. So then you have Bethany, of course, Bethlehem, all this kind of stuff. But it's important to know because people are thinking, well, Jesus is from here, so he is actually a Jew. He's a descendant from the lineage of David, but he actually hung out here. So this is why the Jews, one of the main reasons, or one of the many reasons, I should say, that Jesus was not liked at all, because he was just north of Samaria. It's kind of interesting. Here's the two mountains, Abel and Gerizim, where Joshua made the Israelites pronounce curses and blessings. Interesting that it's in Samaria. So this is actually basically the tribe of Joseph. This is his terrain, Ephraim. Long story there, but this is interesting that it's actually the center of Israel. This is where a lot of action takes place. This is where Jesus performs a lot of his miracles, all up in here, all the way up to Tyre and Sidon, Capernaum, all along the coast, comes down here. Then basically his final week, final month ends up in Jerusalem and gets killed. Anyways, I'm going to be continuing my video series with Acts, and hopefully that'll make more sense as well. But hopefully you're reading through the Gospels, and just to have a layout of the land, I know this has helped me understanding where Jesus is doing all his ministry for 3 years, and then eventually obviously he goes to Jerusalem. Hope that helps. See you in another video. Bye for now.